Albert Einstein, the very name synonymous with genius, believed in God. He wasn't shy about it, famously declaring his desire to know God's thoughts. But here's the kicker, and it's a crucial distinction. If you were to kneel beside your bed tonight and whisper a heartfelt prayer, the God Einstein worshipped wouldn't lean down to listen. That's not because the universe is some cold, indifferent void. It's because the deity Einstein revered isn't a times who times, it's a times what asterisk. Are you ready to dive into the mind of a man whose God ran on math, not miracles? It's a concept that might just redefine everything you thought you knew about faith and science. Picture the most famous genius who ever lived, a man whose theories bend space and time. Now imagine hearing him flat out declare, I do not believe in a personal God, no heaven, no hell, no divine inbox for your prayers. Not even a cosmic referee keeping score. Instead, Einstein said he believed in Spinoza's God. So what on earth is that really? And how did this profoundly philosophical concept replace Sunday school for the man who fundamentally rewrote our understanding of reality itself? Get ready, because this isn't your grandmother's theology. The briefcase-toting heretic, young Albert, like many children of his time, got the standard Jewish upbringing in Munich. He even kept kosher for a while, a dutiful son in a traditional household. But then, something shifted. At the tender age of 12, he stumbled upon a popular science book, and the gears in his extraordinary mind began to turn in an entirely new direction. The captivating stories of Genesis, once cherished, suddenly felt like charming fairy tales next to the iron logic of geometry, the elegant predictability of physics. He later recalled in one of his most quoted lines, an extreme unbelief taking hold. Notice that powerful wording. Not mere doubt, not youthful rebellion, but time's unbelief asterisk, as complete and undeniable as a blown fuse. By 13, the rituals of a bar mitzvah held no meaning for him, and he politely but firmly refused. His parents, perhaps used to their son's unconventional ways, accepted it with the same casual shrug they gave his perpetually rumpled socks. Ah, that's just Albert. This early intellectual awakening wasn't just a rejection of dogma, it was the first sign of a mind seeking a deeper, more rational truth, a truth that science, not scripture, seemed to offer. The God he fired. Ask most people what God does, and you'll likely get a job description, listens, forgives, perhaps medals in wars, maybe even helps your favorite team clinch a victory in overtime. Einstein, ever the precise thinker, called that version of the divine anthropomorphic and childlike. In a candid 1947 letter, he wrote, I cannot imagine a God who rewards and punishes the objects of his creation. Think about that for a moment. The universe is roughly 14 billion years old, a vast, intricate tapestry of cosmic forces in unfathomable scales. A deity who micromanages human report cards, who doles out parking spots or cures sniffles based on individual requests, just doesn't scale with that kind of grandeur. For Einstein, every time you beg for a parking spot or pray for a lottery win, you're essentially talking to the walls. Because a personal God, one who intervenes in such trivial human affairs, is statistically indistinguishable from wishful thinking. He saw moral obligations as purely human problems, born from our collective conscience and societal needs, not divine commandments handed down from on high. To project human desires and judgments onto the creator of the cosmos was to him a profound misinterpretation of the universe's elegant, impartial order. Enter the lens grinder. Now, cue Baruch Spinoza, 17th century Dutch philosopher who by day ground optical lenses for telescopes and by night shattered conventional theology with his radical ideas. Spinoza's big idea was breathtaking in its simplicity and profound in its implications. Stop looking for a king on a cloud, a detached celestial ruler. Instead, he urged us to recognize that time's everything, times from the tiniest quarks to the most distant quasars, from the queue at the DMV to the vast expanse of space, are merely modes or expressions of one infinite eternal substance. He gave that substance a shorthand name, God or nature. You can almost hear a modern copy editor sighing, "Pick one, Baruch." But he refused because for Spinoza they were absolutely identical. There were no miracles, no commandments etched in stone, no divine interventions to disrupt the cosmic flow. Instead, there was just cause and effect, an unbreakable chain of natural laws rolling forward like an immense, intricate domino show. When Einstein devoured Spinoza's times, ethics times at university, it was a revelation. He later admitted, "I believe in Spinoza's God," a statement that reverberated through the intellectual world. What did this mean for Einstein? It meant the cosmos is self-contained, elegantly logical, and answerable only to its own inherent equations. It was a universe where God wasn't a separate entity pulling strings, but the very fabric of existence, the underlying mathematical beauty and order that governs all things. This pantheistic view perfectly aligned with Einstein's scientific quest to uncover the fundamental laws of the universe. For him, studying physics times was time studying God. The ocean analogy, let's use an analogy Einstein himself might have appreciated. Imagine you're a single wave in a vast, boundless ocean. You crest, you crash, you feel the spray, and then you vanish. From your tiny individual vantage point, it feels like an incredibly personal drama, your birth, your life, your eventual dissolution. But zoom out, widen your perspective, and what do you see? You realize you were never truly separate from the ocean itself. The wave was just a temporary shape, the water took an expression of the larger body, Spinoza's God, and by extension Einstein's God, asterisk is times that ocean. We and everything around us are simply temporary manifestations, modes of that singular infinite substance. Einstein spent his entire career trying to map the currents of that cosmic ocean to understand its fundamental laws. In this worldview, prayer doesn't bend the tide, it doesn't alter the fundamental forces at play. Instead, understanding the math of buoyancy, the principles of fluid dynamics, is what truly keeps you afloat. The moral of the story, if you want to talk to the ocean, to truly connect with the divine, you don't recite hymns, you learn fluid dynamics. You study the universe, you unravel its mysteries, because that is where the true reverence lies. It's an invitation to profound intellectual engagement, not passive supplication. Science as Sunday service. For most people, lab coats and liturgy live on opposite shelves, rarely if ever intersecting. Einstein, however, stapled them together, creating his own unique form of spiritual devotion. He once famously said, "When I am judging a theory, I ask myself whether, if I were God, I would have arranged the world in such a way." Notice the phrasing, not "would this please the board of peer review," but "would this satisfy divine elegance?" For Einstein, the universe possessed an inherent, breathtaking elegance, a profound simplicity in its underlying laws. His pursuit of science wasn't just a career, it was a deeply spiritual quest to uncover this divine design, to understand the mind of the cosmos itself. He believed that religion without science is blind, and science without religion is lame. By religion, he didn't mean dogma or rituals, but that profound cosmic religious feeling, the awe and wonder at the universe's complexity and order. This feeling, he argued, was the strongest and noblest motive for scientific research. It wasn't a side hustle, it was the main engine driving his relentless inquiry. The general theory of relativity, the iconic E equals mc squared, even his lifelong, ultimately futile hunt for a unified field theory. These were all attempts to read the mind of that impersonal mathematical God. Every elegant equation was a psalm, a hymn to the universe's order. Every successful prediction, a moment of cosmic communion, a glimpse into the divine blueprint. the letter that hit the headlines. In 1954, just a year before his passing, Einstein penned a private letter to philosopher Eric Goodkind. The press, with its usual flair for the dramatic, later branded it the God Letter. In it, he candidly called the Bible a collection of childish superstitions and unequivocally restated that God for him was nothing more and nothing less than the laws of nature. When that letter sold at auction in 2018 for a staggering $2.9 million, headlines screamed, "Einstein proves there's no God." But those headlines, in their sensationalism, missed the entire point. Einstein wasn't dismissing awe, he was redirecting it. He wasn't denying a transcendent reality, he was redefining where that transcendence resided. He wasn't saying there was times nothing times divine, he was saying the divine times is times the self-consistent rational machinery of reality itself. His critique wasn't an act of dismissal but an act of re-evaluation, inviting humanity to find reverence not in ancient myths but in the observable, testable, and profoundly beautiful workings of the universe. Cosmic religious feeling, Einstein claimed this cosmic religious feeling was the strongest and noblest motive for scientific research. Note those powerful adjectives: asterisk, strongest, asterisk, noblest, asterisk. He isn't talking about a casual interest. He's talking about the very engine that propels human understanding forward. This sensation, he believed, arrives when you grasp that your atoms understand other atoms, when you realize that consciousness itself is the universe examining itself. It's a moment of profound interconnectedness, a dizzying realization of belonging. No dogma is required for this feeling, just humility and an open mind. Interestingly, he even distanced himself from militant atheists, fearing they often tossed out the wonder and profound mystery along with the superstition. He didn't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. His preferred label was agnostic, or perhaps more accurately, a religious non-believer, a man spiritually homesick for a universe that never speaks in human tongues but always flawlessly adds up. He found a deep, abiding spirituality not in external deities but in the internal quest to comprehend the universe's elegant, self-contained logic. For Einstein, the universe's inherent order was not just something to be studied, it was something to be revered. It was a source of endless fascination and a profound, wordless connection to something infinitely larger than himself. So, does a God who never answers prayers, who never intervenes, who simply times the universe itself, still deserve the name God? It's a provocative question, isn't it? Drop your take in the comments below. Would you trade prayer for physics if it meant truly keeping the awe? And if you want more stories where cutting-edge science collides with humanity's biggest questions, hit that subscribe button. Believe me, the cosmos isn't done surprising us yet. Einstein's God doesn't take sides or bend rules. It is the rules. So when you look at the stars, don't bow. Just wonder. And if that wonder moves you, hit subscribe and join us on this journey with me, Ken.